Hello ladies and gentlemen, it's Critical and welcome back to another Minecraft Snapshot video. This week we're taking a look at Minecraft 21w37a, which yes, we are in the official snapshots for Minecraft 1.18, no more experimental snapshots. This is the real deal. And with that, there's a lot of stuff to go over in this snapshot. We are of course seeing all the things that we've seen in the experimental snapshots as well as some new features. So at the beginning of the video here, I'm going to go over all the new features for this snapshot specifically. And then I'm going to kind of go through and show you guys all the new biomes and all the stuff that's been added in the experimental snapshots, just in case you missed any of that over the previous weeks as those have been released. But to start things off, I'm going to switch it to nighttime real quick because enchanting tables, and I have night vision on, so we're actually going to clear that real quick so you guys can see this. Enchanting tables now give off a low light level of 7, it looks like, at least from what I'm gathering from the F3 screen. You can see here that there's a bit of a glow around these, which is a very nice addition. You can kind of have your areas lit up just a bit, which is very convenient, very, very nice. And I'm gonna switch it back to day real quick just so we don't have to deal with the nighttime. But another minor change that's been made is that twisting vines, weeping vines, cave vines, and kelp can now all be sort of cut so that they no longer grow. So you'll see here if I right click on any of these sort of start to mid sections, nothing's really happening. But if I click on this very top one, you're going to see the shears kind of swing at it. And that means that I've cut the top of this so that this will no longer grow. And this applies to the bottoms of weeping vines and cave vines as well as kelp too. So none of the, you can stop all this from growing if you need them for aesthetic reasons. There is no visual cue for this other than the fact that your shears do not swing if you try to right click anything other than the very end block. So that's sort of your main visual cue. I don't notice any audio cues from what I hear. There doesn't seem to be, I'm going to be real quiet. Yeah, there doesn't seem to be any sort of audio cues for that. So I'm interested to see if they add something for that because it's a little difficult to tell whether or not that has been sheared properly. A couple of other minor changes that have been made to gameplay features that do not involve world gen is that illagers such as vindicators, pillagers, and evokers will no longer attack baby villagers. So those are now safe from illager attacks. And axolotls will now only spawn in lush caves. Previously, those would spawn anywhere in the world, but now that we have lush caves here, those will only spawn there. And they have their own separate mob cap now, so they're not going to be taken up by any of the other aquatic mobs or any of the other hostile mobs in the world. They have their own spawn cap, so you're not going to have trouble finding them when you do find a lush cave. And the cloud height, which I have clouds off right now, but let me go ahead and fix that. The cloud height has now been raised up to a Y level of 192, whereas previously it was at 128. This change is to accompany the fact that the height for the world has been increased. You can see up there, I've placed some blocks to test this. The world height now goes to 320. It was previously 256. I believe it's 320. I could be wrong in the math there, but I don't think I am. And it goes all the way down to negative 64. So an additional 128 blocks have been added for a total range of 384 blocks, which is insane. We're going to have so many cool builds coming up with that now that we can do that. Now, those are all the new features for Snapshot 21w37a. That's all of the brand new stuff that we're seeing in a snapshot that is not seen in any of the experimental snapshots. And everything else I'm about to go over right now has been included in one of the previous 6 experimental snapshots, but they are now in an official snapshot capacity. Now, one of the things that I'm not going to be going over today is ore distribution. That has all been tweaked and changed. I'm sure you guys have heard a lot about that. And if you would like to read up a little bit on that, there are some videos by some very smart people out there that will sort of explain that a lot better than I can. But know that the ore distribution for all ores has been tweaked all the way throughout the world. In addition to the world height being increased all the way down to negative 64, and you can see here we're down at some caves at negative 64. The caves, the features such as underground stuff like bone, the little bone structures and mine shafts and all the things like that, those can now spawn all the way down at these levels as well, so the world will be populated as it should. The only exception to this is that granite, andesite, diorite, and dirt will not spawn below Y0. So you can see here all these splotches of random blocks. You're not seeing that as much down here, except for with tuff. And there is a bit of a wider distribution here. You can see that deep slate sort of fades in rather than being a harsh cut as you get down into the deep slate caves down below your world, which is pretty nice. Pretty nice. And if you have missed it, there are 3 new types of caves. There are the noodle caves, spaghetti caves, and cheese caves. And these are specifically called these because of the way that the caves are shaped. So if I'm not mistaken, I believe the noodle caves are the very, very thin ones. The spaghetti caves are sort of the normal Minecraft caves that we've been seeing before. And the cheese caves are the massive open caverns like we're seeing up here. Although this one is an aquifer. You can see that this one's flooded. So those are all of the new types of caves that are added, and that's why you're seeing a bit more variation in the cave types down below. But now it's time to check out all of the different biomes and underground biomes that have been added in, and I don't have to go very far for this one, because you can see that the lush cave biomes are already spawning right here. So the lush cave biomes include a lot of the new blocks that we saw added in 1.17, but these are properly implemented now. All of the biomes that have been added are including blocks that we've already seen in the previous update, but these are just properly implemented into the world now. So you can see here, this is the example of the lush caves. Over here is an example of the dripstone caves. Here you can see all of the sort of stalactites and stalagmites falling and rising up from the ground, and all of the massive pillars that we're seeing added as well, which I think this one looks pretty cool. I really like this one. This is a small example. I've seen some larger ones as well, but this is the closest one that I could find. And I believe those are the 2 underground biomes. So we're going to head back up to the surface and check out some of the new mountain biomes that have been added in this update. So as you can see here, there's a lot of above ground biomes for us to go through. We have the groves, the lofty peaks, the meadows, the snowy slopes, and the Stoney Peaks. This here is the first one, and we've got a lovely snow falling to show us the functionality of this biome. And man, look at all this. This is looking super cool. But this right here is the grove. So the grove is sort of a what I would describe as sort of a snowy taiga, but it looks to be on a bit more of a mountainous terrain as opposed to before. And this is the grove biome that has been added. So this is just a nice little addition to the mountain biomes. The next one is the lofty peaks. We're going to teleport over here a bit, and you can see that this one is sort of the snow-capped ones. I think we're just next to the grove over there, actually. And these are the ones that include the powdered snow that we saw added in the last update. So you can see there's a little bit of that here. And there's some goats running around, having a bit of a good time here as well. And if we head to the next one, we are heading over to the Meadow, which this one is my favorite of the new biomes, if I'm throwing a bit of personal preference in here for this, because it's just this really sort of calming grass color. But it's literally just like a nice little flower biome. You can see here we've got a bit of a splotchy flower biome, which is kind of nice. It looks very gentle compared to a lot of the other biomes in the game. And I'm going to toggle the weather to clear real quick so we don't have to see the rain. But next up we have the snowy slopes, which are very similar to the Stoney Peaks. But these are sort of, I guess, a gentler version of the other biome that we saw over there, where it sort of gradually goes up to the mountain peaks. And then the other one is the Stoney Peaks, which you can see here. If we teleport to here, I'm in a mountain. These are the stone-covered peaks. These were added to sort of give a snow-capped version that could go in warmer climates. So it's basically the exact same as the lofty peaks, but you don't have any snow up on top of the mountain, which is kind of a little bit nicer in some of these other areas. But that is pretty much the majority of what is in these snapshots. There's a couple of other minor changes, such as general technical stuff, behind the scenes stuff to make the game run a little bit better. One thing that I do want to note is it says that they added Illager Alt, which is the rune-like font for Minecraft Dungeons, which is usable with commands. I haven't tested that out, but that sounds pretty cool. That might be a cool map maker thing, so you should check that out if that interests you. But that is all we are going to go over today. I'm really, really impressed with all that Mojang has done with this. And of course, if you haven't seen it, all of the terrain generation in the world has completely been updated. You can see here's a great example of a jungle sort of stretching up into what I believe to be some Stoney Peaks over here. And look at this. This looks like a freaking volcano. Oh my goodness, this looks amazing. And it looks like we've got a little bit of, a lot of calcite over here as well, which that is another change from the experimental snapshots. Calcite can now spawn in these Stoney Peaks as well. But as I said, that is going to do it for this snapshot video, guys. If you enjoyed it, be sure to leave a like and subscribe for more content. I get these videos out as quickly as I possibly can each week that they come out, so be sure to subscribe if you want to catch those. And thank you all so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed, and I will see you all in the next Minecraft snapshot video. Bye-bye.